Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Mario, aka Producer Mario, aka the person winging it without Nyasha. But luckily, joining me today to carry me through this podcast is the F1 Mercedes Lewis Hamilton fashion and most importantly, vibes correspondent, Tasha. How are you, Tasha? Thank you for being here. I'm good. Excited to be here. Honestly, I don't know what Nyash is thinking, but he said it'll be okay. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be okay, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's giving the when the parents, your parents leave for the weekend and they're like, you can have the house,
yeah,
but like, don't fuck it up. We're gonna try not to
exactly,
light it on
exactly.
fire. It should be fun.
We're old enough to not have babysitters, though. Come on. We
Yeah.
don't need that. We don't need that anymore. Just give
Yeah.
us the money. Give it.
Yeah. We'll
We're
order
good.
a
No parties. We
pizza. It'll be
swear.
fine.
If for everybody who's listening or watching, if you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Quick Stop F1 channel. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to drop those 5 stars. Make sure to download. Make sure to like. And if you want a ad-free experience, make sure you can join us in Patreon for different tiers of benefits, including ad-free content, early access to merch, and exclusive videos just for the Patreon.
Nice.
I got through that somehow. Okay.
Crushed it.
So we are here to review qualifying for the Spanish GP. We probably finished it like an hour ago. We've been seeing what the driver's been saying, seeing if Gasly is ever going to, if that investigation is ever going to end because he did so much stuff. I don't know. But Tasha,
Yes.
how did you feel about qualifying in general? What did you think about, what was your experience like watching it?
Overall, it just felt kind of toward the end, it got surprising. We had some surprises in Q1, Q2, but like definitely toward the end, it was like, almost there with a couple of people that I was rooting for. But I think just in general, it kind of felt on par for what we could expect, throughout the season so far. And like I said, minus like a couple of surprises, it was just sort of like standard. So yeah.
We'll get to those surprises because I think the top 10 looks pretty familiar, but we're missing a couple people, maybe two usual people, maybe. So did you just to recap real quick practice? Did you see anything that was interesting during practice? Did you anything that stood out to you from any of those sessions?
I feel like I tried not to read too much into practice. Like, I feel like when I first started getting into the sport, it was like a big, everything would like freak me out. Like if Mercedes wasn't doing well, it was like an indictment on like the whole, organization.
Even in practice 1?
Yeah. Well, granted, right? Like this is our first session where FP1 is the first session we're seeing the new Mercedes upgrade. So it did look a little scary, how much Lewis and George were struggling, because this is the first like proper track where we're getting to see, the upgrades and what they can do. So it did feel a little bit sketchy at first. But like toward FP3, when Lewis ended the session in the top 3, it was like, okay, this feels more right and more encouraging for sure. But other than that, I feel like the rain kind of made it a little interesting. At FP3, we got a crash from Logan Sargent, and we finally got to see the most anticipated floor of the season, the Williams.
It's going to be studied. That floor is going to be studied for years to come.
Oh my God.
I'm excited for when the F1 museum can finally get that floor and put it up. Like Red Bull floor looks like child's play next to
in
Williams.
Comparison. Yeah, it's like step your game up. You know what I mean? Like
honestly, quick question: Do you think we could surf on that Williams floor?
Do you think
it looks like we can surf? It looks like if you just rip out the floor, that could be a legit surfboard.
It literally looks like a paddleboard. Like
you know. At least next year, maybe when when Logan Sargent has more time on his hands, he'll be able to fashion that into like a canoe or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But I definitely agree. Like it got progressively better for Mercedes during their practices. Yeah. I think, which was very encouraging. I would have. I think we were. I would have. I don't know if I would have liked, but I wouldn't have minded if it rained during qualifying.
Really?
Yeah. Like I don't know. I've got but like at the same time, Mercedes upgrades wouldn't be able to be tested as much.
Right.
Leclerc and Sainz also had upgrades during practice, but I think only one of them had them at a time.
Eh, I
And
mean, honestly, yeah,
yeah,
who
no,
knows?
I know.
The way
Yeah,
that
no,
they
I
perform, it's so hard
definitely
to
heard.
tell.
No, but the practice, it was very telling. Like Max was just gonna be Max was just gonna be Max,
Yeah.
but I think the rest of the drivers looked pretty interesting.
Hmm.
I would have never imagined Perez after the practice, but we'll get to that.
Right.
So any other notes or anything from the weekend, or anything from the liveries, anything we've seen? I just remembered one thing, but I'm gonna wait for you
Oh no, I
first.
want to hear. What do you have?
We need to talk about this. Is I think compared to like most of us that have been on the Quick Stop podcast, I
Hmm.
think I am fairly newer to it.
Yeah.
So I specifically the Mercedes emblem in the front
Hmm.
with celebrating pride.
Absolutely.
I want that on a necklace or I want that on a watch. It looks so
It looks
good. So
really
that's
good.
that.
Yeah, I agree. Like that, they have
Yeah.
probably one of the best pride, like emblems of everybody like on the grid so far. I've seen
Yeah.
Alpine has a sticker. I think maybe Williams, maybe Alpha. I'm not sure, but they're just like very I mean, still nice, but like just the way that
Yeah.
Mercedes incorporated into like the star badge and like it actually is not just like a straight rainbow. It kind of looks almost like an oil slick or like metallic-y.
It
It
looks
just
so
looks
good.
cool. Like
It
it
looks
wasn't just like
really
an
cool.
afterthought. They really like designed it really well. And like for
Huh.
Pride, I just feel like, yeah.
I wonder why Mercedes put so much thought
I
into
mean,
something that represents diversity and
and
inclusion.
yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thought.
I
We can,
wonder. I wonder. Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. While we talk about this, while Tasha and I go into our sidebar and talk about this, let's go into a quick ad break. And when we're back, we are going to go into the depths of qualifying. And we're back from those ads, which you definitely loved. And, if you didn't, then thank you for still watching. So Tasha and I were talking. What we're going to do is really just talk a little bit about Q1, Q2, and Q3, and just what we thought was really significant or what was interesting about each session. So Tasha, do you want to start with anything from Q1 or Q2?
Q1 felt the vibes felt off, right? So FP3 is
Yeah.
where we saw like a bit of rain, which was kind of weird because it was not wet enough for like it was not wet enough to use the correct tires, but so everybody was just kind of like sliding around.
Yeah.
It was just like the vibes were off. So you start the session and like 4 or 5 cars are sliding, we get a red flag. Um,
No, I'm gonna name names,
yeah,
Tasha.
oh,
I'm gonna name
sure, go
names.
ahead. Fire up. Um,
All right, Yuki, super quick, right off the bat,
yeah.
sliding. Then who they mentioned like 7 times. Mister has been in the podium before here. Bottas gave us a nice little into the gravel. We had Nick doing the apparently this is a Dutch thing, but doing the spin and then kept going, which
Interesting.
objectively speaking looks pretty cool. Max has done it like 3 or 4 times, Max or not, I think it looks pretty dope. But maybe the research try qualifying more and spinning less. Um, and then two other things that we talked about that I really need to mention. Well, what did you think about Gasly's vibes in Q1?
I mean, he was all over the place. He impeded a couple of cars.
Just a
Yeah,
couple.
we'll see TBD on if he gets infringements or not, which I would imagine he would. But yeah, he
Yeah.
just the Alpines before Quali, or actually before we got here, they had talked about the upgrades to the Alpine, and basically they were saying that they were supposed to put them on par with like Mercedes performance, with Ferrari.
Yeah.
So on that note, I feel like yes, but
Hmm.
Gasly is Gasly, and I just feel like he's not really performing that well. I feel like he's gone kind of under the radar. I think Nasha and Tandy touched on this in the last like main pod.
Yeah.
He's just kind of there. So again, when you talk about impeding on track, I mean, again, he's just like in the middle of the road, like not really paying attention. So yeah,
The man said, "Hey, Drake, I can also go back to back."
yeah, pretty much like, and you know how the FIA doesn't really fuck with him. So it's like I don't know why he doesn't put more emphasis on like being better and just getting
Yeah.
better. They love giving him penalties. So I just Yeah, prayers for him. Yeah, prayers down. But
Speaking of Gasly's penalties, the cherry on top of this, I'm not trying to be mean to Gasly or anything, but it's just pretty funny to me that like he does two what they call textbook impeding,
yeah,
and in the last like week, the points that are applied to his license due to penalties, like some of his points literally just expired.
nice.
Like some of his points were literally just removed from his license, and then hey guys,
Yeah.
I think you should reconsider removing these
He's
points. I think you
comfortable in the
should tack
chaos.
on some
It
more.
seems like, like those points falling off didn't sit right with him. So, he's ready to put some
Nah,
extras on. So yeah,
nah.
we'll
He said after crossing my fingers that I start at fourth.
mm, well, you might want to cross both fingers, some toes. Yeah. Yep. And with
um,
that, you had Alonso
yeah,
snitching on the radio, which I thought was hilarious. I feel like the man has like an all-seeing eye. He sees
nah. If it's
everything.
for drama,
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever heard that
the
expression? Like, think of the messiest bitch you know. It's always a man, isn't it? And I feel like that applies. That applies to Alonso. He has time to drive and snitch at the same time. Like,
Alonso would hear that saying and be like,
that's him.
"That isn't
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That's not me."
Yeah.
And everybody be like,
Yes, it is.
"Alonso, we need to tell you, that's you,
Yeah.
baby.
You're pretty
That's all
messy, babe.
you." He does it in two languages, if he needs to. They
Yeah.
said they had the audacity to say in F1 TV that they want to see Alonso become a steward after
Oh,
his career
no.
is over because of his handing penalties because of uh,
I mean, yeah, his encyclopedic knowledge of like penalties and the rule book, I feel like it
mhm.
would make him a great steward. Character
Uh,
wise, ethically speaking, I feel like you have a whole different conversation on your hands. So yeah.
can you imagine Tommy's kid when he's in F1,
Oh,
his son Sir
Sir
Lewis
Lewis Hamilton.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
Can you imagine him fighting for podiums and then because of that name, Alonso's gonna just tack him penalties on penalties on
Well, he'll be
penalties?
90 or
To
something by that point also. So it's like, I feel like he's gonna have like PTSD flashbacks. Like Lewis Hamilton is still driving. Like
so if he's 90, he retired 5 years before that at 85.
right.
One thing that I want to mention because I had no idea of it, I'm sure from most everybody listening, I saw I'm not 100% sure still if it was Leclerc or Sainz, but I'm pretty sure that it was Sainz. They just said Leclerc on broadcast later,
Mhm.
but I had no idea about random drug testing your car, where instead of a random drug test, I'm randomly weighing you. I
Yeah.
had no idea. And that was at the very end of, I think, Q1.
Mhm.
So the driver losing time on that weighbridge is a weird rule to me. I did read that obviously, I think obviously like it can't happen in a race,
Mhm.
but it can happen in practice, but it's weird that that they allow it in
Right.
qualifying, to
Yeah.
me at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Especially if it's not like right off the bat.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I agree. Like to have, you're in a timed situation to like spend,
Yeah.
a few seconds getting weighed randomly at random. Um, does seem kind of weird. I'm not sure why that rule exists. Maybe somebody can acknowledge, enlighten us in the
Oh, that
comments,
I didn't check that. Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be interesting to know like why they do that. I mean, obviously you catch some people off. Like there's been times where you see people getting like pushed back to the weighbridge to
Mhm.
like actually be weighed because it seems like they just tell them like as they're passing it, like, hey, by the way, we're gonna like weigh your car.
Yo, 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 hey,
Oh yeah,
hey.
like either that or like these engineers are just not on it. But I mean, yeah.
I, I know that we talked about there's one light. Apparently there's one light and your name shows up, but
Mm,
like I think it's pretty easy to drive a Formula One car
past that,
and
yeah,
miss a changing of a light really, really
yeah,
quickly. While you're except Alonso, if he'll see it,
yeah.
he'll
Alonso
he'll
sees
definitely
everything.
see
Yeah,
it. Um,
like
speak about messy bitches.
yeah,
Q2, Tasha. I
yeah.
think that we can talk about two especially messy bitches.
Some actual mess. Checo. Man, I feel like so Checo, I mean, listen, I feel like slowly descending into madness. And I feel like all the pressure is getting to him. I mean, his performance over the past like few races has just been like bad to worse, like almost beaching your car in Q2,
Mhm.
like after you don't have pace and like you barely got out of Q1.
I don't know how he got out of Q1.
Like
He prayed
a
or
pray,
something. He
yeah, a
prayed or
prayer.
something.
Papa
Yeah, yeah,
Checo
yeah.
is there, like he's praying, like
He's got the
he's
belt.
yeah, like he's trying to like get his son to like do something, so it's like he's not doing shit.
But I think you said it perfectly. Like, if you look at his performance,
Yeah,
Nyasha and I said it after Monaco qualifying. Like, you're acting a fool when you're hitting it that hard in qualifying in Q1.
right.
Like, I understand the need to push, and I understand, not understand, but I can empathize that there's a lot of pressure with Max being your teammate.
Hmm.
But the man just bossed at Q1 in Monaco,
Right.
Mr. Street King, and then this qualified.
You would think
Like we
that,
said, I don't know how he got out of Q1,
right, like by a miracle, and it's like you're in the
and
like
then Q2.
fastest car, you know what I mean? Like you guys have like the fastest car. There's no reason for you
There's yeah,
at all to be botching these qualifying sessions. Like you need to be up at the front, especially now. What are you like 39 points or whatever from
yep.
Max? So if
Mm-hmm.
the situation wasn't bad, dire enough before, now you're starting, where is he going to be? 11th on the grid tomorrow. So it's like,
Unless Gasly gets like 12th place
right,
penalty.
yeah. Right. But it's like, but even then, even before he beached his car, it's still like, where was the pace? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing right now? Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's just very strange. And then in the same vein, you have George Russell kind of, I feel like in the same kind of boat where he didn't really have a lot of pace either
Pace, no,
in
absolutely
Q1 and
not.
Q2. So much so like he needed a last lap to get out of the bottom five and didn't make it, and in the meantime he also hits Lewis. Lewis's front wing flies
You think
off.
Lewis needs that?
you know
I think it's
who needs
important. Yeah.
downforce? Yeah, like it's Lewis, he can do anything. Yeah, so it's like I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, they cannot afford, in both instances, they both cannot afford to just be doing like stupid shit during qualies. Like I know the Mercedes isn't that great to drive and it's a little bit
Yeah.
like a struggle right now for them, but still you need points as much as possible. You have the um Aston's, you're within 1 point of them within on the constructors. Like you need as many points as possible, even though you're in a slower
Exactly.
car. So it's like, I need you to focus. I need you to stop trying to like overinflate your performances. Like at this point, there's no need. Just accept it. You're both the number two driver on your teams. Just get the points, like move on to the next
Yes,
track. Do you know what I'm
Tasha.
saying? Like you're
Yes.
doing too
This
much. Yeah. And nothing at the same time. Like, come on now.
this section is called second driver energy.
Like, seriously.
No, but I have to say, like, it's crazy coming into the race weekend. They were asking Checo, and I just think this is a terrible question to ask any athlete
Right.
in any competition. They asked Checo, "Hey man, now that you're now that you're trailing Max Verstappen so much in points, do you feel like you have less pressure to perform, and do you feel more relaxed now in your team?" That's just a terrible question to ask an athlete. He
Yeah.
was like, he tried his best to like answer what he should answer. Like, I'm obviously still trying my best. There's so
Hmm.
many races, etc. But I heard that question. I was like, you're not even trying. You're just
Yeah.
like, who's gonna tell you? Yes, I feel super comfortable now that I have almost no chance
Yeah.
to win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The other thing, we didn't talk about this before, but I read an article where Helmut Marko, Mr. Old Man Yells at Stuff,
Right.
literally comes out and says Max Verstappen never saw Checo as a threat. And this was the other day when he was asked about the 39 points.
Mm,
So yeah, Checo's in a great place, loving place, beautiful
right.
place. George Russell,
Yeah.
I think he drove consistently with a man who has nothing to prove.
Right.
Because like, if you had something to prove, hypothetically, you shit the bed.
Right.
But since you don't have anything to prove, then cool.
Yeah.
Just don't look at your mirrors. Let Hamilton just lose part of his car. It's
I mean, and
fine.
this is my thing with George, though, like that quote from last week about, I feel like Lewis has nothing left to prove and I don't have anything left to
Hmm.
prove either. I'm like, you have everything to prove. You have won one race, you have a couple of podiums to your name, and that's a great start to your time at
Yeah,
Mercedes. But what
absolutely.
makes you think, what brain worms have infiltrated your brain that make you think that you have nothing in your career left to prove?
Nada.
Like, that is
So
so
many championships.
it's you know what I'm saying? Like, you wanna be a no-time champion? Like, okay, like, I guess if that's your goal, you've exceeded that, you
You're
know?
doing great at it so
Doing
far.
great, yeah. You can retire today. But you know what I mean? Like, to say all that and then a week later be out in Q2 and you hit your teammate, like, I just really need you to, like, collect yourself, like, gather your thoughts, get on your
Hmm.
shit, stop talking, just race and
That
and
is a great
and like
advice.
that's it. Like, don't say shit else. You look
Look,
crazy.
he said that we are a terrible. No, I mean, I think you two are compared to Nyasha and Tandy, we're probably not the best people to speak about this exact thing that George said. But what in the world is? I don't know if I can say if it's a curse or anything. So I'm gonna bleep the first part, but bleep Nora. Like he said it on the radio,
Mm,
and they bleeped the first word, and then the second word is the name Nora. And I know that the F1 TV was like, that is the most British possible thing that man could have said. He could have not have said anything more British
right.
than that.
I feel like he pulls out, like, all of his, like, exclamations from, like, a fucking dusty ass, like,
You
dictionary
know he's got
from,
the
like,
1800s thesaurus.
1800. But shit's leather bound. Got, like, a fucking buckle on it. He just, like, blows that shit off and, like, picks some shit, like, calling people scallywags and shit. Like, he's such an old soul. Like, he's the
It
definition
was
of
his vibe.
old soul. Like, he's been here before, like,
He's been here
he's
before.
been here before. Yeah. This man was a fucking pirate in his previous
I was
life.
gonna ask. I was gonna ask. What do you think he's been?
He was like a pirate. He was like a general taking the troops to battle. He was like an
Yeah.
aristocrat. I think that's his latest. I think lately he was
At
the
some point, he
aristocrat.
was
Yeah.
really into. At some point, he was really into water polo. I
Yeah.
don't know
Oh,
why,
oh, for
but
sure.
he was really into
Yeah.
that at
He
some
was
point.
probably like
Yeah.
played tennis back in like the 1910s or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like one of those
Mm-hmm.
guys. Country,
Athlete through
yeah,
and through.
yeah,
Athlete through and through. It's just a shame that he's 150 years old.
yeah.
The last thing I'll say about the Lewis Hamilton and George Russell fiasco is that when they went to Lewis Hamilton on board,
Yeah,
man just lost part of his car to his teammate. Hey guys,
yeah.
George Russell took a little part of my car. That was a little dangerous. Let's
Oh,
okay,
calm.
everything's check the car, please. I think everything's okay, but check the car, please. Okay, all good, all good. All that was missing was tell George Russell not to worry about it. George, we're good. Like that was the only thing that was missing. He was so chill,
Yeah,
so
so
chill.
chill.
Like somebody brushed his shoulder.
Almost like
I
he
would have
was
been like,
expecting it. Yeah,
yo.
yeah. He's like, I just feel like he's
Uh,
just in that mode of like he's not giving anybody a reaction. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you probably are trying to get under my skin. And even if you're not, I'm just not going to give anybody satisfaction. He also is just very focused. Like, I think I mean, I know we're talking about Q2, but post quali, he
it's meant.
definitely has said, like, I want to win tomorrow. Like, I just feel like he
Yeah,
has laser vision. And so, seeing how minimal the damage was, even though I feel like it did affect him in Q3, seeing how minimal the damage, I just feel like he brushed it
it
off. He
had
was
to.
like, it is what it
Yeah,
is. And again, I feel like he sees George not as the threat that George thinks that he is to Lewis.
mm-mm.
And so yeah, I just feel like he's just not going to give that reaction that like for what? I just feel like for what? After 2 years, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in some sense or another. Every time he has a
Yeah,
decent looking car, something happens. Even this time last year, he got the puncture, ended up 40 seconds behind everybody, and then had to just drive his like head off to
yeah.
P4. So it's like I just feel like at this point he's like, yeah, of course, somebody like, and of course it's George. Like, like I just feel
Yeah.
like he's like whatever. So yeah,
I agree with you 100. I think you
yeah,
nailed it. Like it's absolutely that level of professionalism and like experience and like
yeah.
I feel like the more you try to get under Lewis Hamilton, the less you'll be
Right,
successful at it.
right.
Like he does seem very in the zone, very I strive for that, you
Yeah,
know? I
same.
strive for that.
I had
Yeah.
a roommate once, which she had like I had done something apparently, and she wanted to
Yeah.
have a talk. And so like I sit down on the couch or whatever. We planned it. I came. My two friends also, who were my roommate and her boyfriend, came and like just for like watching, just in case anything happened. She comes in and she's like screaming her head off, like blah 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 blah. And I'm sitting there like, uh-huh, yeah. Like I'm not trying to be, but like my demeanor is just I'm very calm. And I could
Yeah.
see that my lack of reaction made her fucking ballistic. Like it was just like, because she's like, you
Yeah.
don't care, la, 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 la. And I'm like, I do care. I'm just not on your level. And I just feel like sometimes that's similar with like Lewis is like everybody else that gets around him and they start getting like rabid and he's just like, I
Mhm.
don't care. Like, not that it's not important to him or that it's not like, it doesn't bother him, but just that like that level of reaction, you're just not going to get it out of him. You know what I mean? So it's like
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
chomping the bit to get under his skin actually has the opposite effect. Now you are starting like P12. You know what I'm saying? Like you should have focused
Bye.
on your
Bye.
lab. Now you're starting
Bye. I'm
P12.
gonna be up here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be up here. Bye.
So,
Bye.
you know, focus on yourself. That's what you got to do. Like,
I have to mention, Chris sent us a tweet from our guy Wolfpack Performance. Basically, to just real quick, it's where Lewis is sitting. The car has here like the curvature here, and right next to where he's sitting,
mhm.
the car is pretty messed up.
Oh,
Like
wow.
the car's pretty messed up. Like it looks like you threw like a really yeah. I'm sure that that doesn't do well for aerodynamics for the car.
Right.
So yeah, maybe there was damage.
I think there
Maybe
was
there
some
was a little
damage. Yeah.
damage. Yeah. Shout out Wolfpack for that, and thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Um, you hate to see it. Hate to see it. I think that maybe. Oh, that's George. Oh, that's George. My bad.
Hmm.
Oh, I apologize then. I just spoke for not. And that is George, obviously, because the helmet is completely different. I just assumed,
Yeah.
and I made an
I mean,
ass.
he was on a
Mm.
flying lap, so it would have caused some
Yeah,
damage. Like it's not like they just like
yeah.
bumped into each other. It was pretty like fast impact. So yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Huh.
Yep.
Sad to see it. Sad
Yeah.
to see George and Perez so behind. I've been without a cousin for 2 weeks in a row, Tasha. Like it's rough out here.
Wait, you're
Then I
not
think we
claiming
have a
him?
break. What's
You're
up?
not claiming him now? No fan?
Oh,
No,
no,
not
no,
thick
no.
and thin?
No. I've been straight up since day, no. Since day dot,
Right.
Tasha. Since day dot,
Right.
I've been saying top three,
Yeah.
primo. Below top three, oh, I hate to see it, buddy. The barbecue, the whole, las
Right.
empanadas, el arroz con gandules. Not this
Damn.
time, buddy. Not
No
this
plate. Damn.
time. It's, how are you
Get
that
it
much?
together,
I don't need you
Checo.
to
Yeah.
be, I don't need you to be like with Max, but I need more
He
than
needs to be
that.
P2 minimum, like at all times. Like the car, I mean, I'm sorry, like you have one
Yes.
of the fastest cars on the
You're
track. Like
absolutely
you
right.
can't
You're
be doing
absolutely right.
dumb shit. Like at this point, your race is with everybody not named Max Verstappen, and you're putting your car in the gravel in Q2. Like, yeah, no empanadas for you, bitch. Like you need to go back and do some work.
I- you can't be more right. Like you
I'm
cannot be
done.
more
Yeah,
right. And it,
yeah.
and like
I just want to
I'll
shake
give
him.
him
Like, where's your
like,
fucking problem? Like, come on.
my God,
Everybody's
despierta,
telling you you suck. Why are you like giving them like fuel? Like it's true. It's true. Like you suck.
Monaco broke my heart. Look, Monaco
Yeah.
broke my heart. Like what he did in Monaco broke my heart. But
Yeah.
like, and then
But then to follow it
I
up
don't.
with that.
I don't need him to be number two because I think if we start the argument of like, he's definitely got the car to be number two 100%.
Yeah.
But if we start the argument of like where the driver comes in, where driver skill comes in,
Yeah.
like maybe the driver skill is so much lower than Lewis that the Red Bull really, so I understand him not being second because other drivers are more impressive.
hmm
But my guy, you're out of top five, you're making a fool out of yourself.
Yeah.
Like a complete fool. Like speaking of
Mario is
top five,
disgusted.
I am. I'm going to change the topic on myself. Speaking of top 5 and Mr. doesn't need to prove anything.
Yeah.
George Russell is currently 5th in the driver championship. He's also the only driver in the top 5 that doesn't have a podium.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's part of his plan or not, but if it is, again, killing it. Impressive.
I mean, that's why he's fighting so hard for P3 in Monaco. He was like, this is my shot. Like, he waited it out long enough. Yeah, basically. That's his strategy. Just wait it out.
I think this has been a terrible qualifying for radios and in cars because everybody's blaming communication. So either the radios were terrible or engineers were not doing their job properly because like everybody blamed everything that happened during qualifying to I didn't know.
Right. It is a little strange. Like F1's so technical and then you get to like the comms part of everything and it's just like, are you guys using like 1940s like ham radios to communicate with each other? Like why doesn't anybody hear anything? Like, you know, like the engineers don't tell people to move when they need to move or like it's late. Like
pinnacle of engineering.
Like, I think we need to update. I think we can afford some better.
Remember those walkie-talkies? Yeah. You used to tell your friend go to one corner of the house and you go to the other corner of the house and you check how far they get.
Right.
They get to it's basically that, but like
F1's giving cans on string at this point. Like that's how I feel. Like it's like the weather radar is off. Like, girl, like what do y'all know? Like what do we know here?
I don't want to add to it, but last week in Monaco, they were constantly talking about how the GPS can't do its job because there are roads on top of roads during the Grand Prix. And I understand that sounds like a problem, but I also understand that if you're Formula One, you should solve that problem.
Right. Come on.
IMO.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, you and I need to talk to F1 engineering.
They're not thinking big enough. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Their brains are smooth as that Williams sponsors.
Nick DeVries future paddleboard.
Right.
No, but really, I guess DeVries didn't do that well, huh? We need to talk about, I guess, let me see, one rookie we need to talk about, and that is Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
He did really well, consistently. At one point, he was obviously things changed, etc. But like at one point, he was number 2. Obviously, he went down later, but it looked really good. I think he looked really comfortable. I think, and this is not me looking for stats or anything. I'm guessing, not guessing, but from what I remember, this is probably the furthest that Lando and Oscar have been in qualifying. Because I remember that every time Lando qualified like 8, Piastri would be like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So like this is clearly a Lando Norris found something.
Yeah.
In this qualifying round.
Well, I think this is the track that like the McLarens are like their car I think just like excels at. And they also just had upgrades as well. Was it Monaco, Miami? I can't remember, but they had just gotten upgrades as well to their car. So I think that this is a track that like suits their car. So yeah, I mean, for Lando to put it in like P3 and like Oscar not too far behind to stay in the same quali sessions and like actually start high up on the grid. I just feel like, I feel like I've been kind of like ignoring them so far this season.
Like McLaren or
yeah, like, as in general, like the McLaren, like the first couple of races just were not good. They, were DNFing left and right, P19, P20, like it's just not been a good season for them to start off. So I do feel like it's been kind of dead for them a little bit in terms of like keeping up with them. So yeah, with Piastri and Norris, finally pulling up to Q3, it was kind of, I was like, oh shit, like, I guess there are McLarens on the track.
You said it. You said it really. I hadn't thought about it like that because I think about 3 and 10, and it seems far.
Yeah.
But I think you said it better. They're in the same qualifying session.
Yeah. Right.
They're making it to the same qualifying session, and that is an impressive thing.
Yeah.
Like sure you're 10th, but like
you squeaked
at
in
Q3 though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what they'll be able to do in terms of race pace, but oh no.
To further prove like your McLaren has been kind of their thing, the
Mm.
onboard Lando Norris with his race engineer when he was told P3. You're kidding me. No, Lando, that's P3. Really? Oh, wow. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Literally. Literally. The man sounds like he has some sort of PTSD because like he did not celebrate that P3.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, that's nice."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he partly feels like I'm not going to be able to keep that. I don't see him finishing in P3. Like, so I don't know if maybe he's just kind of, because he's kind of pessimistic by nature. Like when you
Absolutely.
hear him
Not
speak, yeah,
kinda. Not kinda. I think
self-deprecation
McLaren
on
tells
100,
him
yeah, at all times. So I feel like it's like a little bit of disbelief, a little bit of like, shit, I got a lot of work to
Yeah.
do tomorrow because you have much faster cars behind you. I feel like McLaren race strategy has been a little bit like lacking as well. So, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure for him to keep that position. If he does, it would be great. I'm sure like they need that because it's
Yeah.
been rough for sure this season,
To say
like
the
to
least.
say the least. Um, things have not been going smoothly.
No,
So,
no, no.
yeah, that,
To add to that,
yeah.
all the I think we've both seen all the I no, you definitely seen because you had a really good tweet where it was like uh it was a no it was a like article on Ricardo
Mhm.
and how Red Bull found him and that he was not eating and
Yeah.
that etc. And you're like that sounds like depression.
Yeah, he said Ricardo said, I don't want to call it depression, but I haven't been eating and like I don't feel like myself, like all classic signs of depression, Danny. These are all,
Exactly,
but like when
exactly.
Marco and Christian had been saying earlier in the season, like, when Ricardo came to us, he was a little bit, lean and like just
Skinny, yeah,
skinny.
yeah.
Yeah, and I thought they were just doing their normal shit where they always like kind of like, you know,
Gotta talk shit
gotta
somehow.
talk shit. But I didn't know that he was genuinely under eating. And so
Hmm.
they genuinely meant that like he came to them underweight,
Yeah,
depressed, not himself. So yeah, it was
like a
just
baby
interesting.
bird.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad and like like, he doesn't really want to call it depression, even though that's what it is. I don't know if that's like you know, in this sport, I feel like maybe sharing something like that makes you seem more weak or whatever. Um,
Interesting.
but
Because
yeah.
yeah, I know that the NBA
Mhm.
because that's the other sport that I follow a lot. They yeah, I think you're damn. I think you're absolutely right because even in the NBA, you do hear about Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, and how they started speaking up about their depression
Mhm.
and everything like that. But I don't remember an F1 push like that for mental health
Yeah.
or things like that. And I wouldn't be surprised that and I don't agree with this, and it's unfortunate, but I wouldn't be surprised that a man of Ricardo's age
Mhm.
was probably raised to like men are men, and
Right.
he's not super old, but then he goes into sports, and then there's the macho aspect in sports. So like maybe it is absolutely like you're saying, like maybe it is that F1 isn't the type of sport where you can be like, yeah, I was depressed because
Right.
you'll look weak or different. Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
unfortunate, yeah. But that's what it is, Danny. So I hope
Yeah.
he
So,
feels better. So, I mean, you don't want to wish that on anybody, like depression on anybody. It really
absolutely
sucks.
not.
So yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He looked pretty happy in the Met. He looked pretty happy on a boat somewhere with his, I think, girlfriend. He looked damn happy on
Yeah.
that boat. Let me tell
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Good
Not having to
good
drive
for
that
you, Rick.
McLaren, so I feel like I'd be happy too.
This is probably the best PR move that Red Bull has pulled off in like ever.
Yeah. Well, they need it because,
Take.
their two main
I'm
drivers have
saying.
the personality of like a cardboard box combined. So you need somebody with some,
You're not wrong.
who give a little
You're
something.
not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay, so I think we're kind of starting to wrap up, but do we want to mention anything else about the qualifying round in general? Anything we might have
No,
missed?
I think we got everything, especially for that round. It was just besides Checo and Russell, and
Hmm.
I feel like everything else kind of, I feel like the only other thing would be just Nico and his Haas. I feel like he's really been hustling that Haas this season.
True. Absolutely,
But
absolutely. He was P3 at some point,
yeah.
and then slowly but surely, tick, 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 tick,
Yep. And they also had upgrade this
yeah,
race. So I mean, seeing the arms race happening right now between all the different teams who had the upgrades, it seems like everybody, at least one driver from each team is able to kind of maximize
Yeah,
so
yeah, you're
far
like
the
they,
upgrades.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like they've seemed like a good round of upgrades
Yeah.
for most of the car. Oh, we haven't mentioned we met the typical us. We mentioned Alonso's snitching, but we
Mm.
didn't mention actually like Aston Martin's performance or like how they did during qualifying.
Yeah.
I know that this was pretty cool. Stroll got 6th, and then this is the first time that he out qualifies Alonso.
Yeah.
And I thought at first when I heard that, that's pretty cool. He was asked later, hey, you out qualified him, and he immediately says, he had some damage, so it's really irrelevant that I
Mm.
out qualified him immediately.
Boo.
I don't know if that's that nice Canadian in him or what,
Come on.
but
Yeah.
bro,
Take
just
it.
be like, yeah, that's cool.
Dunk
That's
it on
cool.
his head. Fuck that. You beat him at his
You don't
home
have to
race.
be
Are
like,
you kidding?
you don't have to be like, but you're gonna be like, that's cool. Yeah, that's nice. I did well. That's cool.
He's a better man than me. I would be at least
I'm
celebrating.
guilty
Like,
of
yeah, you don't have to dunk on him or whatever, but I mean, it is
uh,
kind of funny, like the sentiment this past, like, a couple weeks, especially with the point spread between Alonso and Lance just being so, was it like 70 points between them or something like that?
yeah.
Alonso's
90 something to 27.
yeah, like Alonso's more than carrying the team at this moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to pick yourself up. Like these drivers they won't hype themselves up when they like deserve it, even though yes, your teammate something might have how would you know? Do you know what I'm saying? Like you put the time in, you got the time, call
Exactly.
it a day, like celebrate that. Because it's like they spend so much
How
time
you
being
didn't get damage?
self-deprecating themselves, and it's like no wonder none of them have any confidence, to drive these cars. Like they spend all this time being like, yeah, yeah, I guess,
You
fuck that. I would
you'd
have been going
be
crazy.
is it that's super surprising because you're
Yeah.
right. They like some are even like Max is like silently confident. Like
Mm,
he'll say like, yeah, I can win,
yeah.
but he's not braggy about it.
Minus the golden
Leclerc
boots.
is
Yeah.
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 I will say the golden boots, yes. I mean, that's also he's the one who says yes, so
Yeah.
absolutely. But at the same time, that's also sponsors pushing for
Yeah, for
let's have
sure.
gold
Yeah.
boots and we'll sell gold boots. But absolutely, that's on him as well.
Right.
I just want to say that the number I when he started using the number 1, I didn't know that was his right because he won the championship the year prior.
Mm.
And I didn't know that. And I saw him change to number 1. And I was like, you are the most douchebag, cocky ass. Who do you think? And then I went
Right.
to Wikipedia and I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Never mind.
Take
And
that
you know
back,
what? I
yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know because Hamilton was always 44.
Yeah, he never changed it. Yeah.
So I was like, that doesn't make
And
any
I think
sense.
people in the past have done it for like one race or maybe a couple of races, but this is like,
Yeah.
I think it's rare to see it on a car for like multiple seasons now. So, I mean, anyway.
But and I guess Esteban, Bestie, he's
Mhm.
got some confidence. He's got some confidence.
Yeah, a little
though.
bit.
Yeah. Alpine looks good on paper. 4th Gasly,
Mhm.
7th Ocon.
Mhm.
Gasly messed up, but like on paper, meaning like the laps that he put together.
Right.
Apparently, they're looking good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll see what that means for the actual race itself.
Yeah.
I don't expect much from Pierre. I mean, although he does have some like back end, like on the like low key, like he'll sometimes have like good like recovery drives. But yeah, I don't know what I'm really expecting from Pierre. I don't have any expectations from
I would.
ST. Yeah, hopefully he
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can make some moves, but I mean, I don't know how easy it will be for them to do overtakes and, yeah. So we'll see.
I'm gonna take this into an amazing segue. You said expectations.
Mm.
Speaking of expectations, Tasha, what are your expectations for tomorrow? 1, 2, 3.
For sure, Max is going to win this. I mean, it's for him. It's a race for him to lose.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't see without like some disaster striking him not winning this. Lewis podium for sure. Hopefully P2. He's got Sainz and Norris ahead of him.
Absolutely.
Gasly hopefully gets that penalty, so he'll drop down. So it would just be, us behind Sainz again. I don't really see race pace for McLaren being a problem. The Mercedes has always had pretty decent race pace, and it's Lewis
Mm-hmm.
who, I think the car
And
is
it's Lewis.
comfortable for him right now. So I think just on that, he's more confident. He's like really, really getting, into a rhythm. So I don't see that being an issue for him to get a podium. And then maybe like, I don't know, who would be P3? I feel like it could still be a fight between the Ferrari and Lando, to be honest. Maybe
Yeah.
Sainz edges him out.
Sainz and Norris?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got a lot of history together.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I also can see them maybe colliding at some point, coming together at some point. I see cars getting beached
Chaos.
at some point. I feel like there will be first lap chaos for sure. Hopefully Lewis is saved from all of that, unlike last time, because I can't do another race. I can't do another race where this man's car gets like, it looks good and then something out of his control happens. So
Hopefully
yeah.
they got it out of their way in Q3.
Yeah, hopefully. What about you? What are your predictions for the race?
Max is his race to lose. I'm hopefully he doesn't lap anyone. Honestly, I am terrified that he's gonna lap.
And Checo
someone
better hope it's not him twice, like last race.
Honestly, he deserves it. I said it, bro. If you're gonna be back there, then you deserve to get lapped. No, really, I'm rooting for very similar to you, but I would really like Verstappen, Norris, and Hamilton to be on that podium. In if Hamilton's number 2 or 3,
right.
I'd rather he be number 2, but I would really like a podium of Hamilton, Norris, and Verstappen.
Okay.
I mean, I would like Verstappen to be someone else, but it's not going to happen. So I got to choose the other 2 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, disaster would have to strike for Max to lose this. So,
let me ask you, how do you feel about Checo? Like, what is he starting? What is
Checo,
my guy?
he
11th, is he?
Yeah, 11.
What do you think he'll do?
I think he can recover. I mean, the car has the capability to do that. Does Checo have the capability to do that? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But he really has to like get out of his own head. I think a lot of this just comes down to a confidence issue. It just doesn't look good for him right now, and there's no shortage of criticism. There's just the pressure is just not ever going to be relieved until he does something. And so, yeah, he's going to have to drive his ass off tomorrow and recover as best as possible, maybe like P4. But who knows? We might get some like safety cars. And I for sure know we're going to see somebody get beached at some point. So,
that gravel was very popular. All week.
Yeah, eating them up all week. So, I see opportunities for it to get shuffled around at some point throughout the race. But yeah, on like pace, I hope he's able to do something. I just want him to do something that's not reliant on again, a flag. I want him to like actually do overtake. Like, I'm gonna need to see you work. I need to see you hustle. Yeah. Exactly.
I think I'm just gonna throw out a random prediction that I think Russell will end up higher than Perez because Checo's just not looking good and Russell's right behind him.
Yeah.
I think Russell will end up at a.
I mean, honestly, I can see them coming together again for.
Absolutely. I mean, to be quite honest, the moment I saw them, like that, right, 11, 12, or 11, 12, I'm like.
I feel like it'll be interesting to see what the Mercedes strategy will be for George, what tires they choose for him to start on. I could definitely see him attempting to try to jump, Checo at the start. I don't know that on pace that they're going to be able to like outrace them, but George is a great defender. Checo is a great defensive driver as well. So I can see,
except against Max.
Yeah, well, because the team doesn't let them, but quiet as it's kept, I would love to. I would love to see Checo and Max actually battle out one time on track, but can't have that. So.
Well, let's see what we get tomorrow. If you're still listening, thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Make sure to like, subscribe on that YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all of the platforms. Make sure to download, make sure to show some love on Twitter. We are excited to see what happens tomorrow for sure. I've been Mario. You can find me at Mario_APM. And Tasha, where can people find you?
Tasha, you can find me at Tasha on Twitter. We'll spell it for you guys in the description and underneath
Yep.
my image here. But yeah, it's been fun talking to you. I'm so excited we got to do this and we didn't like burn
Yeah,
the
yeah.
joint down.
I was nervous. I was nervous. I was nervous.
Oh,
Um, remember that you can get ad-free content on Patreon. You can get exclusive access to merch, and you'll also have videos that are only part of the Patreon
mhm.
content. We also have a Discord where you can join, and it's all Quickstop F1 fans and members of the Patreon. So a lot of good discussion. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody for joining us. And
Thank
Tasha, if you
you.
could take us away,
Absolutely. Guys, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. See you next time. Bye.
please.
Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quickstop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.